Test, test, test. I think we're live.
Mm-hmm. Anyone here?
I don't know. Let's check.
We didn't tell anybody that we were going live tonight. No. Nope.
Test, test. Oh, turn that off. I think we're live.
Oh, hey, Diana. Diana's here.
Hey, welcome.
Might just be a party of one tonight. We're getting a major ice storm tonight. Not major, but significant enough right now.
Pretty bad, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Todd almost fell going out to the garage a minute ago.
You can see us and hear us okay? I think everything looks good. We'll just wait a couple minutes and see who else shows up.
Seems laggy.
Does it?
Seems like it. I just got done watching Living Traditions. It was probably an older video. And they were milking their brand new Nubian goats for the first time. So just starting to get my brain around that.
Did you figure out any... find anybody local that has a boy goat we can borrow? Really?
Yes. Well, I got to make sure that they're not like in the same lineage as our goats. But I did find like Macon, Michigan or something like that. M-A-C-O-N, I think. Hey, guys.
Rose.
Hey, Karen. Hi, Rose. How are ya? We have a slow start tonight. We didn't tell folks we were going live, and we've kind of been hit and miss since the beginning of the year with travels. But Todd just got back from Florida late last night from his deep sea fishing trip with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the red nose to prove it.
My ears have been peeling.
You got a little bit too much sun. That I'm not going to breed them until next fall. So I'm just starting to I'm such a planner and just researching, and like one of the things that she and I had already thought about recommended doing is going ahead probably early in the summer and building our milking stanchion and start training them, like feeding them from it and getting them used to it.
Yeah.
And because I knew I got them for dairy goats, I haven't been doing it as much this winter just because I don't spend as much time out there with them. But I've always handled their udders and stuff. And one of them's more... No, that's way more glary, honey.
Glary? I was just trying to fix it so it wasn't... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's worse.
Almost Homestead. Where are you guys at now? Paraguay or something?
No.
You guys
They're
are like touring...
Still in Amsterdam. I think they were catching their last train the last I saw.
Fun
So
trip.
jealous of that trip. Looks amazing. I don't believe it's the Texas boys here. I don't believe it at all. Hey, Bro Farms. Anyway, I was saying that I want to train them. I've been handling their udders. One of them's much more pleasurable about letting me do it. The other one is already like a kicker. She hops away right away. So I need to get back in that routine where I'm just handling their udders more when I go out there and spend time with them. Hi, Hobby Farm Girl. That's a new name. Welcome to the chat.
Shade Tree 4x4.
Hi.
You found your new place yet? Or are you still looking?
before we get into all the fun, I wanted to share really fun for my Aldi shoppers out there. I made a fast food tonight with something from Aldi's, and mostly homemade ingredients.
Farm fast food?
Farm fast food.
There's probably something canned, right?
Yeah. So I had, I wanted to make something quick and easy just because he just got home last night, and he is the main dinner preparer in the house just because of he's a better cook than I am. And I had the canned chicken and the canned turkey, so I just said, hey Google, what can I make with canned turkey? And there was all these recipes, and one of them was a chicken curry. And I remembered, sometimes when I go to Aldi's, they have like their specialty items that they carry every now and then. And if something looks fun, I'll pick it up. And I picked up these little curry sauces. So one is a curry, and this one is like a masala. And I made this curry one tonight with 2 pints of our canned turkey and just served it over rice and sauteed up some of our peas for a side dish. I've never had curry. It was really, really good.
It's very good.
I liked it a lot. So if you haven't tried it and you go into Aldi's, that specialty select stuff, and they're reusable jars. So turn your jars into, your dried herb containers or whatever you want to use. I liked it.
Hey.
Hi, Elk and Anchor.
Just watched their trailer video the other night.
Yeah, and they have I think they've got 2 more out already. I saw the one posted today about your story about being pregnant with twins, so I'm going to watch it. Everyone, Elk and Anchor has a brand new YouTube Homestead channel. I believe Texas, if I'm right. And they've just bought land. They're still in the suburbs, and they're going to be like a channel that's going to be fun to follow as they move on to their homestead and design it the way that they want it. And they have a young family, and it's going to be a really cool story to follow. Oh, it's Goober. Hey, Goober, you're my fave. I always tease him that if he was a little older, I'd hook him up with Abigail, but not old enough. Sorry, Goob.
Who else was there? Shade Tree still hasn't found his land yet. Homegrown Illinois, hi, welcome, as well as Leelanau Life. Wonder how many people that are not from Michigan would pronounce that correctly.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. Too much curry gets in your pores. Yeah, this wasn't strong at all.
Same with garlic.
It was a coconut curry sauce. It was good.
They say something like garlic and beer are the 2 things that you'll really sweat out through your pores.
I don't know about beer. I don't drink beer, but I've experienced that with too much garlic.
The next day, and you still smell like garlic. Someone was asking about the Florida trip.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And whether or not we had fun.
I didn't go.
Yeah, if you missed the weekend in review video that we put out yesterday, that kind of reveals the fact that she didn't go with me. I went by myself to Florida. My father, Michigan winters kind of suck, and I think the older you get, the more it kind of stinks for people. So my dad, every year for the last 10 years or so, he's rented a condo down in Key Largo, Florida. Same condo every year. He goes down, and they know all the people that live there, and they know everybody's story and where they're from and how they get there. And so every year pretty much, he's like, if you guys ever want to come on down and spend the weekend with us. And this year, my birthday was last week on Wednesday. And for my birthday this year, Rachel got me tickets to fly down there, and I flew down Wednesday. And I got back last night, Monday night. It was, I think my plane landed like 11 or something like that. But by the time I got my bags and
so if you caught our video, go check it out. But I'll give one of the things away if you haven't seen it, that I got hit up here with a decent snowstorm.
Yeah.
So yesterday, and it was like, I think Sunday, super like below zero temperatures, real temperatures, and then the wind chill on top of it. Sunday I was talking to him, and I can get violent, I guess. I threatened to punch him through the phone because he said, he's like, yeah, I woke up this morning, it's 50 degrees, it's cold. No, he said, it's cold here. I was like, it's cold? He says, it's like 50 something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to punch you through the phone right now. And I'm like, you did not soften up that fast. Anyway, so most outside from Michigan botched the pronunciation, and some from Michigan. Did we say it right? Leelanau, right?
Yeah, I think so. And Leah was asking, how was y'all's weekend? If you guys don't follow our regular videos on YouTube, because there's some people that like live streams, there's some people that like videos. Usually every Monday morning, first thing Monday morning, we post a video that we call our Weekend in Review series, where we recap the entire weekend that we had on our homestead, whether we're here or not here. Sometimes we're at our cabin, sometimes I'm in Florida, sometimes you're in Hawaii. Every Monday morning, first thing, we usually have that video go live, unless something tragic happens or we just get too busy or we really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We've had that happen before where it's like, we didn't do anything.
Does your dad catch any gator while he's down in the Keys?
Never hunted gator.
I asked him that because one of the days he was down there, they went on the Everglades National Park side, on the backwaters, they call it. And I asked him, I wonder if you're going to see any gators. But you didn't, I guess, because you would have mentioned it.
No, I didn't see any alligators.
Thanks, Tracy. And then I think somebody mentioned, I saw up there, I'm not sure who it was, that Out in the Country is another fun channel to follow. And they just purchased their new homestead. And it seems like they haven't been specific about it, but it seems like it's up in the UP of Michigan. And I think they were originally from Indiana or Illinois. And that's another fun channel that's going to be fun to follow as they turn their land into their forever homestead.
They have a big following, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Hi from Florida. Welcome. We usually watch the reviews, although I wasn't thinking. Yeah. So our weekend was good. It was fun. I got the kitchen dining room painted, was my huge project for the weekend. That took the majority of my time, and I got the house nice and clean for Todd to come home to, so he was happy to come back to me.
Of course, I missed you dearly. So yeah, Florida. On our weekend in review video, I did post some footage. We threw some stuff in there, but I did have a few other things. I don't want to take up too much of our time tonight with it, but this picture here, there's a cool story behind this picture, and I didn't put little videos, so you can't really see us talking.
I can do it while you talk.
So there's this picture here and this picture here of me. There's me. And there's my dad. And you'll notice that we're both holding what looks like the same fish. And the story behind this, so we took a charter boat on Thursday, I think it was. It was like a 50-foot boat that we would take, and it can be anywhere from like 12 people to 38 people, I think, is the max. And we had like 15 or something, so it really wasn't crowded. It was pretty cool. And every person picks a spot across the back of the boat or the side or the front of where they want to fish from, and that becomes your spot. And me and my dad were fishing right next to each other. And we were catching like little fish here and there, little grunts or little porgies or different things. And at some point during the day, I was like, oh, I got a big one. And I'm start reeling it in. And he's like, oh, I got a big one too. And he starts reeling it in. And we're standing right next to each other, like this close to each other. And we're reeling it in. And that grouper, which is what that is a picture of, we pulled that thing up from the bottom. And both hooks. My hook was in one side of its mouth, and his hook was in the other side of its mouth. And we literally both caught the same fish, which was really cool.
And that great big of an ocean, what's the odds of that? I think that's unique. Somebody asked if our cabin was on the Manistee or the Platte River. It's neither. It's on the White River.
Close.
Mm-hmm. And then Leah or Cecil asked if I've been garden planning. Yes, I have. Stay tuned in this live show, and I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. So a little bit more behind the scenes of, did we miss any other questions?
No, just Food Force Permaculture's here. Hey, welcome.
Hey, friend, welcome.
Abigail. Thanks for helping. Do you want me to make you a moderator? Hey, Abigail, Goob is here from Texas Boys. And I always tell Goob he's younger than you, but if he was just older, I would arrange a marriage between you two. He's a very wonderful young Christian boy. You would love him. So maybe you just need to wait until he's older, and then age doesn't mean anything. And he lives in Texas, Abigail. Go look him up on YouTube right now.
You're hilarious. Some more behind the scenes, Florida. I did catch a cool mackerel. We went out Friday with a friend of my dad. His name was Craig, on his boat.
He's got bad skin.
Who?
That fish.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Craig.
No.
It's not Craig in the background. That's me. Caught a mackerel. We were trolling. We fished along the reef for a little while, for a couple hours, which was really cool because the reef was kind of here and it like dropped off from about 30 feet deep to like 90 feet deep like this. And so we would bring the boat up into the shallows and then drift into the deep. And that was fun fishing there. But then we went out to like almost 300 feet deep and we were trolling out there. And that's where I caught that mackerel, which was really cool. The
highlight, though. Get to the fun one. Are you saving that for the end? Baby shark. Do.
My dad caught this really cool tuna out while we were out there trolling as well.
Yeah, wasn't that unique, though? I did not know that tunas had those spiky things on their bellies and tails like that. It's very prehistoric looking, like they have the spine.
And they got that big eye. It looks like a little cartoon.
Yeah.
So that was really fun to catch. Those things fight good. This was the shark that I caught. If you saw a little clip of that, it was in our weekend in review video that we put out yesterday. That was pretty cool.
And I thought it was a hammerhead. He said it was something different that I'd never heard a name of.
Yeah, it's a bonnet head.
Bonnet head. Never
I guess
heard
it's
of
very
it.
similar to what they call so there's a hammerhead and there's a shovel head and there's a bonnet head. And they're all kind of the same. Yeah, and the shark was cool because we were catching a lot of mangrove snappers, which are little fish. They're anywhere from like 6 to 10 inches. And my dad had hooked one, and he was reeling it in. And as he was reeling it in, the water was only like 4 feet deep in that spot. As he was reeling it in, you could see the shark coming up behind. And it ate the little snapper, and then the shark got hooked.
Oh, they caught lots of snook. Or snook.
Yeah, we
Snook?
tried.
Is that?
Yeah, we tried to catch some snook, and
Is that not what those little things were that you were catching?
No, those were just grunts.
Oh, grunts. Funny names of fish.
We did go to a place, though, where people were feeding the snooks. Did you see that Snapchat that I sent you? And those things can get, like, huge, and their scales are, like, this big.
Oh, wow, neat.
We tried really hard to catch some snook, but we didn't.
I have eaten shark. I like it. My favorite is mahi-mahi. So when he said he was on the first day going deep sea fishing for mahi-mahi specifically, I was like, oh, I so hope you get some that you can somehow bring it home, but he didn't.
Yeah, here's 2 quick little videos. And when we were taking the charter boat, when we went out to the deep sea, like 300 and 350 feet, we're cruising back in, and it's like a 45-minute drive to get back into the harbor. This little pelican flew up.
Are you hearing this? That looks really loud.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they maybe
Yeah.
were hearing both. If I've just blasted your ears, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. But that little pelican flew up and just landed on the railing. We were feeding them by hand. It was pretty cool.
What's $64? Is that what you said? Keep
No,
adding my shopping cart at my gardener. 60. Yeah, I think mine was like $72. Like way more than
72.
way more. But I'm
I'm
but
kidding.
I'm doubling my garden this year, so that's something that I'll share with you guys.
So what else? We had all the fish that I caught: mackerel, tuna, shark, all the other fish, miscellaneous fish. Got to feed pelicans. We saw dolphins when we were over on the Everglades side, and also saw a manatee. Manatee coming your way.
Those are just the funnest animals. I love them to death. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is.
Which was pretty cool. And he was like right in my fishing spot too. So every time I would cast out, I had to like make sure I didn't get near the manatee. So that was pretty cool. Last of the Florida stuff, and I'll make this quick and we can get back to our normal, typical type conversation. The sunsets where they were on Key Largo, the sun would set over us off of the, what did they call it? Blackwater Sound is to the west of Key Largo. So the sun would set every night off in the west, just as it normally does everywhere. And the sunsets out there were absolutely beautiful. I think that was one of the first nights I was there.
I like how the ships look, like just sitting out there. That's really pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one. Looks like a cotton candy sky.
Yeah. And
That's what we call those sunsets when they happen here. I'm like, ooh, it's a cotton candy sunset.
Yeah.
And look how go back to that. Look how it is on the water. Like you can see the pink stripes through the water.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That one was really cool. That was after a long day fishing over on the Everglades side. And I actually shot a time-lapse video of that, which turned out, I thought, man, this is going to turn out awesome. But it turned out kind of junky for some reason. Like the resolution, it didn't turn out right. My phone, I got to sort out something to do with my time-lapses to get some better quality out of them. So that's pretty much wraps up my little behind the scenes of what we didn't show you already from Florida. I have a whole bunch more footage, and I might throw together kind of just like here's a Florida fishing trip with me and my dad with a bunch of the extra footage that we have.
Yeah, people will probably be interested in it. You might reach a different audience than our normal Homestead audience, but
yeah, we're
still
not.
fun. It must have been hard to come home to the cold. Yeah, so today was his first, real day here. And I mentioned in our weekend in review video that I did some shoveling, and I got his four-wheeler out with the plow on it, thinking I was going to figure out how to use it. I mean, I know how to lift it and lower it, but he's like cautioning me, like, be real gentle, or otherwise you can break the winch and all this stuff. And I just literally panicked. I got out there. I was like, I can't be responsible for breaking this thing. So I just put it back in the garage. And I told him that. I was like, honey, I was going to do it, but I just feel too nervous that I'm going to break something. So he did that when he got home from work today, because we knew we were getting the freezing rain tonight, and that would just be terrible on top of all that snow. So he came in absolutely freezing. I said, yeah, so is that 50 degrees actually cold now? No, 50 degrees isn't cold.
Hi, Grandma, so happy. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Hey, Red Duchess Farm, welcome. Okay, so let's talk garden planning. I had printed everything off at work so I could show you guys, and I left it at work. So if you've been with us for any time now, you know that I manage this big Excel workbook that is my garden planning. And I always have the layouts of my garden space. And for anyone that's new to our channel, the majority of our garden space is raised beds. We expanded last year, so all the surrounding area around the raised beds is now, for the majority, Ruth Stout. InDesign. So I know what my plots are of each of my individual garden spaces, and I plan out what I'm planting in them, how many seeds per area I need. And then I build, that's how like the first page is. And then the next page will be, okay, then what's my seed starting, winter sowing, or direct sowing dates. And then they're judgment dates this early on. And then my next spreadsheet is what is my preserving goals. So for everything I'm growing, how many quarts do I want to harvest and, put up, or pints, or am I going to freeze it? Am I going to dehydrate it? So then I always have a record to go back and look. And did I achieve my goals? And a lot of the learning is I couldn't achieve my goals because I did not grow near enough. And so it's been a huge learning experience for me. Like the one thing that I'm continuing to struggle on is getting enough spinach harvested for the amount of spinach I need. So it's taught me, like last year was the first year I met my goal on peas. And when I first started out, I just was not planting enough peas to get the harvest that I needed. So anyway, I got all that done for 2019. In 2019, you guys know we don't have our pigs anymore. And they did such an awesome job tilling up the pig paddock that I'm going to add a whole bunch of just temporary garden space in there while the land rests for the most part. And I'm planting a whole bunch of crops in the pig paddock. For the majority of it, it gets a ton of sun during the summer.
Hey, Brenda, welcome.
So
somebody else was new too.
What came in the mail is my M.I. Gardener order. This big old package is all my M.I. Gardener seeds. I'll pull out just a few because I'm going to do a whole video on this.
Michigan Daffodil, hi, welcome.
Show you some of the things I got. But if you guys have any questions about like gardening or anything like that, this is going on my 4th year being a master gardener, which I'm so not. But
Do you have your little patch yet?
No, I love it though. Like somebody was doing like an Instagram, one of those Instagram, story things where it's like ask me a question, but it wasn't that. They were like, what? I need a hobby to do while it's winter or something like that. I need to pick up a new hobby. What's your favorite hobby? And I wrote back, gardening, because it really is. I could spend so much time out there. I love it.
Hi, Rosanna. Welcome. Somebody asked how our meat is doing.
Oh, yeah.
On the topic of mead, so that little jug, I did not move it down into the basement, and I'm not hijacking your gardening conversation.
No, that's okay. I'm just pulling out a few things.
It's been bubbling away. It's starting to clear up.
Nice.
The blueberries at first, there was all kinds of crud up here towards the top. But about once a day, I would tip it around and kind of shake it up a little bit. Not necessarily shake, but agitate it a little bit. And we keep this little cloth on it so it doesn't get any sun on it. And it seems to be doing well.
Okay, well,
We feel successful enough at it that I bought 4 more bottles on Amazon before I left to go on vacation. And
Yes.
our next one will be
a cider.
an apple cider made with apple juice
And just sugar.
and sugar. That'll be our next experiment.
Yep. Okay, so I didn't pull out one of everything, but basically what I did was I knew how many seeds I needed for my garden spaces. And last year was my first year I actually successfully saved any seeds. So I want to start improving my skill set and capability in doing that. But I honestly have only just been able to harvest enough that I have enough to preserve for my family. Well, I guess spit this gum out because it keeps looking like I get a big wad of chew in my cheek. Okay. So I'm going to keep working on that. But what I did was I went through my seed store that I have collected and said, okay, what do I need? So I got tons of corn, and I chose the ambrosia sweet corn. I got lots and lots of spinach. Of course, my lettuce mix. I use every ounce of lettuce seed I get every year from my gardener, and his salad bowl mix comes up wonderfully. I grew these very successfully last year via winter sowing, San Marzano. If you haven't researched winter sowing, I recommend it. I tried 2 different experiments last year. Winter sowing, like in the plastic jugs to get your seeds started out, and we had like snow over them and everything. And then I also did my tomatoes direct winter sow and just took like 2/3 of a 2-liter like pop bottle and made like a little greenhouse effect on top of where I winter sowed them, and every single one came up. So I'm going to do that again. Sugar pie pumpkins. Some of the pickling cucumbers.
You did a whole video on the winter sowing, didn't you?
Yeah, but not the way I did the tomatoes. Oregano. I've never grown cumin, but we use a lot of cumin, so I'm going to try it. I'm trying to grow more herbs, so some St. John's wort. I love the blue shelling peas. To me, they're just fun. I mean, they're a great pea to grow, but they're absolutely stunning plants. So I forgot to buy them for the 2018 gardening season, and I really missed them, so I made sure to get more of those. And I got the regular Lincoln peas too. So if I recommend peas for harvesting, in my gardener's Lincoln peas, I had a bumper crop, and I made sure the majority of them are the Lincoln peas, but I got some of the blue shelling peas for fun. I got my sugar snap peas, which I didn't grow last year, and I really missed them because I just enjoy snacking on them while I'm out in the garden. A few pumpkins. I hadn't planned on buying any. What is this one? The Atlantic Giant. I've not had tremendous success growing pumpkins here yet. I know tons of people grow awesome, huge pumpkin fields in Michigan. I haven't found what makes a good pumpkin harvest yet. And I saved last year, the way I did my pumpkins was I just took my fall pumpkins and I put them in random locations around the property and just let them rot over winter. And I had all seeds start from my rotted pumpkins over the winter. So I just then pulled all the starts out, and that's how I planted my pumpkins this year. And I did the same thing this year. I took all my fall pumpkins that were just decoration type pumpkins, and I had a couple that were going bad before I could use them. And I put them all strategically in the pig paddock where I'd want to grow them next year. But I still picked out a few new varieties. I have a whole bunch of different sunflowers. This is, I think, the sun gold that I'm going to grow. I think I showed them all.
Almost Homestead. Bye. Thanks for joining. Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Sugar snap peas.
I like following your Instagram pictures.
Oh, no. Oh, you know one thing I grew last year that I loved? Sorrel. If you guys haven't grown sorrel, I couldn't kill it, I guess. I didn't try, but I didn't necessarily, where I planted it, didn't necessarily try to keep it alive. And it's a very hardy plant. It's wonderful tasting, and it grew all season long. So I got more of that. Kale. I won't show any more. Kale. More sunflowers. Anyway, a whole bunch of other goodies. I got also earlier was it this year or last year, late in the season, we won that seed giveaway from Farm Fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a bunch of fun seeds from them too. And I mentioned in a few live streams ago that MI Gardener's website, if you go down to their social responsibility statement at the bottom of their page, they have the ability to donate unused seeds. And they turn those seeds over to families that are don't have the ability to invest in their own garden. And so I have so many seeds that I just will never plant. They're nothing that our family would eat or that we're necessarily capable of growing up here in Michigan. So I'm going to just put a package together and send them up to him.
Mm-hmm. So Leah said that their pumpkin plants were gorgeous with flowers, but they never fruited.
So with some of my pumpkins, I have gone and done... I think pumpkins are, if I remember right, exactly like squash. And if Rose is still on here, I'm sure she'll correct us, that you can self-pollinate. So you're going to have a male flower and a female flower. And if you don't have a good pollination rate, you can go in there and hand pollinate them. And I did that with my zucchinis last year. I would just watch them every single day because the hard part for me was having a male flower open at the same time as a female flower. And, the male would close up and be done before the female flower would open. But when I would spot one, I would immediately take that male sucker off and do his thing in his female flower so that they could make some zucchini babies.
Yeah. Michigan Mike is asking sorrel, is it like leaf lettuce or like kale?
It's just like leaf lettuce.
I'm sure I ate some when I was out there.
It's delicious. It's got like almost like a lemony flavor. It's really, really lovely. Good night, Food Forest. Okay, yes. Get some sorrel if you haven't. I love it. Hi, Myra. How are you? Fried pumpkin blossoms are good. Yep, I've seen somebody else do, what is it? Not pumpkin blossoms. A long time ago, I watched a video of Patera deep fry daylily blossoms.
Yeah,
So
that.
remember we pulled off daylily blossoms last year and we tried sucking the juice out of them, and they are tasty.
Mm-hmm. A lot like honeysuckle, but just not as much juice.
Right,
not quite as sweet either.
Right. So anyway, stay tuned for the video on this where I'm going to go over like my whole Excel workbook and how I plan my gardens, and then like how it helps me learn and grow every single year on what worked and what didn't work.
We'll do that next week?
Sure.
All right. Next Tuesday, it's set.
Other videos coming out this week we're going to keep you guys updated on all the winter projects. So we'll have a dedicated farmhouse renovation on the kitchen. You're going to be installing the sink probably here shortly. So, Hi, Rachel. I said hi, Rachel. It's me. You're saying hi, Rachel. Hi, Ladina.
Michigan Daffodil. There's been quite a few new names. I don't remember that one before.
Well, she said she used to be Ladina when she was on here. She said that earlier. I saw her comment.
Okay.
Hey, Mama Grows. Yes, what am I planting in the pig paddock? That's on my spreadsheet, but I think I have a lot of it written here. Cucumber plants, beets, Brussels sprouts, cantaloupe, cabbage. So we've never grown cabbage. I'm going to try it. Summer squash, onions, zucchini, watermelon, pumpkins, broccoli, cauliflower, just a big greens bed, so it'll have like kale, spinach, lettuce, stuff like that. The Mexican gherkins, sunflowers, tomatoes, and then all along the fence, all the way around, I'm doing the peas. And then flowers like bachelor buttons and poppies and fun stuff like that. So it's just going to be like an experimental place. I really don't know how much I can actually do. So while I read all that off, my goal is to take all those straw and hay bales that we used for the goat shelter this winter, and those are going to be what provides my bed spaces. So it's just dependent on how far that goes. So that's how much bed spaces I'll have. I at least know pumpkins and tomatillos are going to grow out of that paddock out the wazoo, because that's what was fed to the pigs the most of from the garden. So I know I'm going to have, and tomatoes. I'm going to have so many volunteer tomatoes, tomatillos, and pumpkins in that space already that I'm going to have to be strategically watching for them to pop up so I can move them and put them where they need to be.
They'll almost be winter sowed.
They will. Mm-hmm.
They should be pretty hardy.
How long do you have to wait to sow in the soil where the pigs were? Well, I'm not sowing so the nice thing about pigs is they pick one area to poop. They don't poop everywhere. So I'm not sowing anything that you wouldn't basically want your fruit and your vegetables growing right in the soil that fresh pig poop is on. Pig poop is considered a hot manure, so you'd want that to compost and age for at least 2 years before you use it. So where I'm growing the pumpkins is kind of near that poopy area. So, and I'm thinking it's going to be safe because they're not growing in the soil. I'm going to have the layer of straw and hay down over it.
Mm-hmm. It'll probably help break it down quicker.
It's going to be okay, I think. And they have such a hard outer skin that I think if anything was to permeate it, the pumpkin might be the strongest thing that could handle that. Good night, Tracy. Have a good day tomorrow.
There was another one we missed.
Is there? For all you late people, you might have missed my Aldi's tip. If you shop at Aldi's, we made this chicken curry dish tonight, but with my canned turkey. So good.
So you're not going to do onions out in the orchard this year?
Nope. No, because they need way too much water, and I don't have a way to water them in the orchard like I did last year.
Okay.
So last year I got, bigger onions than I've ever got before, but they were still small, and I planted 400 of them. So I'm not going to be planting 400 onions this year.
Yeah, Red Duchess Farm said, have you tried Alma paprika peppers? You can dry them and make your own paprika.
No, but I will, because we love paprika.
Mm-hmm.
I know in my gardener, I don't think he sells that pepper. Do you know where you buy that brand of seed?
Yes, the sauce came from Aldi's. But you bought that a while ago. I wonder if they still have it.
Yeah, I've seen it there. So yeah, these have been in my pantry because I told you I was scared of curry because I'd never eaten it before. I wonder if they're even still good, really. No, I'm not going to tell you what the date is on the jar. It's just a date.
We ate it today.
We ate it. It was perfectly fine.
Lois Ann, hey, welcome. How much snow you got up there? Lois Ann, if you guys don't know Lois Ann lives in the same town
that our cabin is in.
That is closest to our cabin.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? How are we doing on time?
Living Traditions had a video that talked about ages of poo and when it's safe to plant, right? Yeah, different animal manures need different rates of composting. Some, like rabbit and for the most part goat, you can put directly on your garden without fear of damaging anything or contaminating any of the fruits or vegetables that you're growing. Others, like horse, cow, pig, are considered hot manures, and you're going to want to compost them. Chicken, you're going to want to compost chicken manure, not put that straight on your vegetables.
And which ones aren't hot, like cow?
No. I said
horse.
no. You weren't listening.
I wasn't paying attention.
No.
Carry on.
Rabbit and goat are two that I know that are safe. Try
5 to 6 more inches tonight. How much is already on the ground?
We're trying to figure out when we can get back over there.
Yeah, you're going to be my remote weather person, so I can find out how much snow is there, so I can determine whether or not I can get back to my cabin.
Right.
Special soil
Hi,
for our
Cynthia.
raised beds. She did, in fact, use a special blend of soil for your raised beds, and you followed the Mel Bartholomew
I did.
recipe for mixing
Just to get
soil.
started, though, because once you start, it becomes your own, really, after that. So to get started, Mel Bartholomew recommends 1/3 compost, 1/3 vermiculite, 1/3 peat moss. And you mix that up, and as you're adding it to your bed, you're watering it to get a good hydration level established. But once you start there, that's just my starting base, and then I throw in my own compost as I make it, my own mulch every fall as it's created, and so then I always do my own amendments, whether it's like the trifecta fertilizer from In My Gardener or my wood ash, lime, gypsum, whatever I feel like my garden space is lacking. So, there's another really good blend that I know I've seen In My Gardener use, but it's very expensive, where it's kind of like a pre-mix blend. It's called Pro Mix. It's very expensive. I think it's $40 for like a large compressed bale, and you would need several compressed bales to fill a raised bed. But yeah, if somebody's just starting out and you're very, very much interested in raised bed gardening, I can't recommend 2 sources enough. So number 1's going to be Luke at In My Gardener. That's the majority of how he raises his garden. And so he has every type of information you could be looking for. But the Bible for me with raised bed gardening was Mel Bartholomew's Guide to Square Foot Gardening. And then, so that's where I started. And then I started implementing some of Luke's methods on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put a link to that book in the chat for people.
Okay, good. Other lessons that I learned last year was I really pushed my high-intensity gardening a bit too far in some areas. So, I mean, and I did it purposely. I wanted to see how far could I go with high-intensity gardening, which is something that I've gathered from Luke. You know, really maximizing the use of your garden spaces. Because what I don't ever want to get in this situation of is that I'm underutilizing what my garden space can provide to me. So where I failed, or where I think because I did that, it was my hindrance to the garden's production, was the corn. So I tried to jam pack, I think it was...
Every 6 inches? Is that what you did?
No, it was way more than that. I think it was like every 4 inches I planted corn. And it was, I definitely had underproducing situations because of that. I probably had 1/3 of the yield of what I should have had if I would have not done that. So there are certain crops where it's fun to, I don't mind taking a chance on a less important crop. Like I would never chance my beans. I would never chance my carrots. I would never chance my peas. We're not big corn eaters. We're not big potato eaters. So I still have corn in the freezer now. We haven't hurt from that experiment. I am doing the Ruth Stout gardening again. I expanded my Ruth Stout beds at the end of last season so I could do more of it this year. I'm doing...
Roof stout is probably 5 to 6 times bigger than last year. At least 5, probably.
Yeah, 5 times bigger than last year.
And that's before we even get to the pig pen.
Right. Which the pig pen is just going to be a one-season thing right now, as far as I'm planning it. It's just going to be to get in there and use that space and try to cover the earth that the pigs have uncovered. And then we'll, at the end of next season, we'll throw a cover crop in there and replant it for the pigs in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Doing pigs again.
Yes.
You want to do a different breed this year?
I do. The next season, the Tamworths.
Tamworth
or American Guinea Hog.
American Guinea Hog, yeah.
But American Guinea Hogs we're probably going to have to get at the end of next year. So they're ready in 2020.
Oh.
Because they take longer to grow. Yeah, tomato plants is another one. I wouldn't go as intense with the high intensity gardening.
Oh, they answered your question about the Alma paprika peppers.
Baker Creek does not have them. Totally Tomatoes has the seed. I've never heard of Totally Tomatoes. I'll look it up.
We're still eating all of our carrots from this year? Yes. How many jars we got left?
I'd say probably 20 jars left. 15 to 20 jars left.
Quart size, too. Big jars.
I have buku green beans still. I honestly should cut back on my green bean crop. But honestly, the way I'm looking at it is if I grow the same amount of green beans this year. And for those of you that don't know, what video was that we had that flyover drone footage in? Was that the pig video or what video was that? One of our recent videos, I can't remember what it would have been in. Todd did a little footage from a drone perspective, and you could see the garden space. Our garden is small. It's compared to some. I mean, it's 40 by 40.
Yeah, 40 or 45.
And that's including all the walking paths and stuff that I have in there. So it's a fairly small garden space, considering that we have 7 acres. And I say all that to say that I get a lot of produce out of my garden space. And I'm only growing the same amount of green beans this year that I did last year, thinking that 2020, I want to go on a nice vacation in 2020. And I'm already starting to think about how can I put up enough crop next year so that I can pick and choose when I want to leave, because it'll be during that summer harvest season that I could maybe give up a crop if I needed to, because it wouldn't be the right timing wise. So you have to think like so many things so far in advance. We do have the Excalibur dehydrator. We did dehydrate quite a bit this year. We dehydrated onions and our peppers.
We want to try some garlic.
Yep.
We still have most of our garlic crop from this year. We haven't really touched much of it.
No.
So we want to try an experiment to see how much garlic do you really have to dehydrate to get X amount of garlic powder at the end.
So I want to take one whole garlic braid. I want to dehydrate that and say, okay, now how much garlic powder does one braid give me? And then I'll know if it's worth dehydrating garlic powder, or should I just still continue to source it externally? Or does one braid of garlic powder give me like a whole pint of garlic powder? That would be awesome. Gosh, it's already 9:54. What do you need? Oh, okay.
Black garlic, we have not eaten at all, but we still snack on it, and we throw it in some pasta dishes sometimes when we're cooking up some pasta.
Yeah, what did I make the other day? I put black garlic in it.
We put it in. We tried making One of the things I got for you for Christmas this year was that Vitamix blender.
Yeah.
And we tried to make our own hummus one night.
Oh, yes.
With chickpeas.
We didn't try. We successfully made our own hummus. It was so good.
We did. And we put some of that black garlic and maybe a little bit of
Yeah, I think we did
regular
some
garlic
regular,
and some black garlic in our hummus when we blended it in that Vitamix, and that turned out great.
Yes. And I know I put it in one of the pasta dishes I recently made. It was like a lemon pasta, and it had black garlic and like broccoli and maybe chicken. I'm not quite sure what yes, so Michigan Daffodil, she did the dehydrated kale in the oven. That's one of the big things why I'm growing such a large green garden this year is I want to do dehydrated greens this year. And Tangi, if you're still on here, I think just recently you did something where you put your green powder in something that it was that you were making. And it made me just kick myself last year because I actually let a lot of my greens bed just go because I couldn't eat it all, and I never even once considered dehydrating it. So I'm going to do that this year. Anything else that you needed to talk about?
No, I was running through some stuff in my head of what we have coming soon other than like farmhouse renovation stuff. We still want to do our pantry tour video.
We should. I mean, I should have actually did my pantry tour video like two months ago but then we were saying, well, let's wait till we get the pigs so that they can see everything that we have, like do a freezer. But now my pantry is like so dwindled down.
Well,
so then I feel like
a lot of food.
There is, but I mean, we've used just so much from it. So then I feel like I've got to go and can a whole bunch more to do a pantry video.
No.
But I should do it. I made that taco soup the other day, and like I know the Pratt family Homestead's been canning a whole bunch of soups, and it made me want to can a whole bunch of soups. Okay, we'll do a pantry tour video.
And we can do, remember we made that mayonnaise. That turned out good. We can do a video on that now that we feel successful and confident in the flavor and the consistency. We still need to work out a little bit of math behind it.
I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. It was perfect.
Because I'm sure that there's a ratio of eggs to oil that you should stick to. And we didn't. I didn't really stick to anything.
No, we just did it till it looked right. Thanks, Mike. Well, we loved chatting with you, and I expect it's going to be fairly regular unless something happens. We might be fortunate enough to work from home tomorrow. If this ice storm continues, it's not going to be safe to travel the roads. Abigail might have the day off school, which she's crossing her fingers because final exams for the semester start tomorrow. So she would have another day to study. Chili sounds yummy. So I want to do, me and Abigail, we're big soup eaters. Like if there's nothing planned for dinner or there's, I love to be able to just throw her soup in her lunch for school. So I think I'm going to definitely can some soups here shortly.
You made taco soup over the weekend while I was gone?
Yep, I just mentioned that. You're not paying attention again. My God. Where does his brain go? He's sitting next to me.
I'm reading, and I guess my brain only works on one channel at a time.
Am I sitting on the deaf ear?
You are, actually.
Oh, okay.
This is my bad ear, so.
Oh. I know what else. Some folks were asking about, and it was through a Facebook group, and I'm sure quite a few of them are subscribed to our channel. We're asking for what is my beauty regimen and stuff like that. So face wash. I would think it was in maybe a post where I was talking about my beef tallow body butter moisturizer that I made for my face. And I did recently make my own shampoo. I wanted to use it before I do a video on that, and I love it. So some kind of girly girly videos coming out shortly.
Michigan to have 6 inches of snow per hour.
North of Grand Rapids? What? That's like a
An
blizzard.
An hour north of Grand Rapids is right about where our cabin is.
Wow, that's insane. Good night, Lois Ann.
Hey.
Did she ever answer you back about how much?
She said they have
total?
like 4 to 5 and apparently a whole bunch more coming tonight.
We should get up there. That sounds fun. Okay. Oh, last point. If you didn't see my video, I'm a super old lady now because these are transition lenses. Kiri just made me think of it because she left a fun comment. And I've been putting it off for 2 years, but I got to the point where I couldn't read. So I'm doing okay with them. I'm accepting aging just fine now that I can see.
Did you already do a deodorant video? You've changed your recipe and you have something you like more now.
Oh, I love my deodorant now.
You should
that
redo
was
it.
Well, remember we did the whole deodorant video and that was like one of my very first videos and our footage got messed up. And that was the recipe I'm using now.
Yeah, and we never posted it because it all came out junky.
Well, like there was something like really wrong, like the voice was off track with
Yeah.
the. Yeah, I'll do a deodorant video here soon. Who asked for that again?
Daffodil again.
Okay. Yeah, Ladina, I'll do a deodorant video. I just shared it with my brand new daughter-in-law. I love being able to say that. And she wanted to start making her own deodorant. So I sent her like the links to all the products I buy. It is a little bit more product based, meaning that there's more ingredients than a lot of the recipes you see. But it's the first one I found that doesn't melt on me in the summertime. And when I say melt, like over 70 degrees in your house and your deodorant's like liquidy, that's not what I'm looking for. I want it to be like I went and bought store-bought deodorant and it's high quality and a solid stick. And I love it. Okay, I can say goodnight.
Okay, me too.
Is that a manatee on your hat? On the sign. It is a manatee.
I think it's a dolphin fish.
Oh.
It's mahi-mahi.
Oh, I look like a
It's my new
manatee.
hat. So yeah, we should have something else. I don't know what, but we'll have something else out this week. And we'll also be back next Tuesday, and you're going to do your garden plan Excel spreadsheet and how you do your thing.
Not next Tuesday. I'm going to do a whole video on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that might bore some people on a live video. Good night, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining. See you soon.